To the children to come up at this time. Come on up. Come on up. Come on, Brendan. Come on, Lexi. Come on, Carter. Come on, William. Come on. Come on up. William. Hey, good morning. How are you? You all good? Everybody excited to be here? Happy, excited? Real excited? Y'all know this is Palm Sunday. Do you know that? That's why we got all the palms out. It's also Passion Sunday. Logan? Yeah, go get you a mint. That's what Logan wants. Anybody else want a mint? Follow Logan. And a lot of people wear red on Passion Sunday, Palm Sunday. The Passion of our Lord. We read about the people coming in, Jesus coming into Jerusalem on Palm Sunday, and people get real excited, real excited. Do y'all ever get real excited? Listen, show me what looking real excited looks like. Jump up and go. Come on, jump up, everybody. Come on. Y'all don't know, that doesn't look very excited. Come on now. Come on now, stand up. Everybody stand up. All of you stand up for a second. Everybody, stand up. Come on. Can y'all stand up and look real excited? Real quick, show. Okay, all right. That's what was happening when Jesus came into Jerusalem. All these people were really excited. And then after Jesus got into Jerusalem, they just kind of forgot everything and went back to doing the same old. And then the people grabbed Jesus and they crucified him. They put him on a cross. They put nails in his hands and his feet and hung him up on a cross to die. Y'all know that story? Jesus did that for us. How could they do that? Have you ever gotten so excited, you're really excited, and one of your parents said to you, calm down. Logan, has that ever happened to you? You got real excited and they said, calm down, right? Lexi, that ever happened to you? Yeah. And they want you to calm down because your excitement is getting away from you and you're becoming some crazy person, right? And your parents don't like to see you be crazy, so they say, calm down. In this story today, the crowds got all excited and they crucified Jesus, crucify him. And eventually he was crucified. This is the Lord of earth. This is God coming to be with us, for us. God created the world and everything is in it, and each of us out of love, for love. Did you know that? And yet, people crucified him. Why do people do that? You ever think about that? What can we do to change that? We can offer love to all around, right? So come on, I got your stamp. It's a little picture of Piglet. And Piglet has a big old heart. Y'all know who Piglet is, right? Okay, good. All right, Piglet and a big old heart. Big old heart. Logan, thank you for being excitable. Go. Don't get too excited, though. Calm down. Remember what Treebeard said. Don't get excited. Calm down. All right. William, you got one earlier, so we're going to put it right there this time. Okay. All right. There you go. So Piglet is Piglet. Carter. Father, make us the masters of ourselves that we might become the servants of others. Take our minds and think with them. Take our lips and speak through them. And take our hearts and set them on fire through Christ our Lord. Amen. There's a picture right beside my door down the hallway, and it's a picture of Dietrich Bonhoeffer. And the quote begins with, silence in the face of evil is evil itself. I've used it before. It's a wonderful quote. Silence in the face of evil is evil itself. This story that we read for this Sunday, Palm Sunday, Passion Sunday, we read it every year, different version, is about how people, good people, get taken up in their emotions. And they do something that they wouldn't have done had they taken a deep breath and thought about it. No one seems to be willing to say, no, enough, we're not going to do this anymore. When I was a young boy, I used to go to church every Sunday. I mean, I went Wednesdays, Tuesdays, sometimes Thursday. If it was a revival, I went every night. And I learned about the gospel at the feet of my mother and my grandmother and all sorts of Sunday school teachers. And there were lots of people, lots of different people. People that were real intelligent, people that weren't so intelligent, people that had lots of money and people that didn't have lots of money. And I learned that they were all my family. And there was one woman in the church. She had 8 children. 8. And my mother knew everybody. She wanted to know everybody because she believed that was her family. And these 8 children were all in sort of bad shape. They were disheveled, often wearing the same clothes every Sunday. And my mother would point out that they needed love. They needed us to love them. Because Mama was a little different. TV had just come in when I was a child, and then it became the rage, and everybody had a TV. And this woman who had 8 children, remember, didn't work. She worked at the home, not outside the home. And oftentimes she didn't do a whole lot because she'd be watching TV all day long. And she believed, after a while, that the TV had people in it talking to her. And they did. Really, TVs did have that. But she believed they were real, and they were out to get her. And they were sort of watching her. Horrible state to be in, but her emotions, her feelings had gotten the better of her, and she began to be something other than what she would have desired to be. That story that we read for this Sunday, the story that we read of Palm Sunday, has people getting all excited. And they get their emotions all supercharged. And then shortly after that, they go back to whatever they were doing. But then another crowd appears when Jesus is captured and put on trial, beaten, spit upon, and eventually crucified. And in the crowd, the same people perhaps were there getting all stirred up with their emotions. Crucify him, crucify him. We say it every Palm Sunday. I hope that you can feel something when you say it. Palms to Passion. It's sort of a schizophrenic Sunday. We go back to Rite 2 for part of the service. We wear the same clothes we've been wearing all Lent. We still sing some of the same responses. In this story, we hear some really incredible things. There's this one place where Jesus is with his boys and he's getting them ready. And he's talking about how that the people that lorded over you are not doing those things that are going to get them into the kingdom. And then he looks over at Simon Peter and he says, Simon, Simon, listen. Now, poor Simon hadn't said a word in this story. He hadn't asked for this. He hadn't done anything to warrant Jesus singling him out. When I saw it this week and thought about it, I thought, wow, that's pretty amazing. I never have noticed that before. He just picked Simon out of the crowd and he says, Satan has demanded to sift all of you like wheat. And of course, we know what happens next. Peter denies Jesus. Perhaps his feelings got the best of him. But we all feel things, right? We all felt things when we were reading this gospel, perhaps. How did you feel? How did Jesus feel? Have you ever thought about that? How did you think Jesus felt? Was he angry? Was he sad? Was he disappointed? What kind of feelings was he dealing with? Because you can trust your feelings, right? We might get in an argument with someone and we're convinced of the rightness of our position. We've got our feelings all stirred up, and we'll say to the other person, well, you hurt my feelings, right? And of course you can trust your feelings, right? And you should act on them, react. No, we can't trust our feelings. We never know quite where they come from. We know we feel things. What was Jesus' primary feeling in all this? You think he was ready to bust loose and maybe turn the angels of heaven down on the people? Not if we read this story correctly. Jesus was. If you had to explain Jesus, there'll be people here Sunday that don't know anything about this story, perhaps. You know, there are people that show up for Easter Sunday. They're not regular churchgoers, but somehow they're compelled to come, and perhaps you would want to tell them the story. There was somebody at the early service that didn't quite understand why we wear palms. What's that about? And I thought, where have they been? Have they not been paying attention? But there are some people that actually don't know the story, and if you had to explain it to them, say the elevator statement, right? You only had time for one word. What would you say about Jesus? Well, let me think about it. King? You wouldn't say angry, would you? That wouldn't be the primary word. If you had one word to explain Jesus to someone else, the one word, peace. Peace. Didn't he say that over and over again? Peace. They cut off the ear of the soldier. What did he do? He reached over, put the ear back, and healed it. And yet, they somehow forgot these wonderful acts that Jesus had given. They couldn't understand that he really loved them. Do you know that I really love you? I do. And yet sometimes people don't understand that. And this is the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings. He was there to give us everything. He was there from the beginning. The world was created through him. And it was out of love that he was created. And here are people all around him shouting to crucify him. They're trying him. They're telling him all sorts of horrible things about him. And his primary emotion is peace. Be with you. Peace. I learned something long ago from my mother. And I see things going on today in our world that make me not peaceful. I watch politics. I'm really kind of apolitical, but I watch it because I know it will affect me eventually. And I've noticed in the political process, we got a lot of people that get all stirred up in their emotions, and they want to get us stirred up too, so that we'll act in ways that will help them get elected. And one of the things that I've noticed about the politicians these days is they will make decisions to do something that will affect the other person's position. And then when they challenge them on it, you know, this is your job. You know, we pay you for this. You get this huge vacation package, and they'll say, well, you did it first, right? You did it first, right? Have y'all heard that lately? I learned something a long time ago from my mother, and you may have learned it too. Where are the kids here? Tell me this. Have you ever learned this, Colin? 2 wrongs don't make a right. Okay? Did y'all learn that as a kid? 2 wrongs don't make a right. So just because Johnny did it doesn't mean you do it, right? You've heard that before. Well, that's good. Y'all are doing your job. 2 wrongs don't make a right. So just because somebody else did it doesn't mean we do it. And that's what was operative on this day when Jesus was crucified. There were people looking around and said, well, he did this, he did that, you know. And none of it was founded on anything other than a lot of emotion stirred up. Jesus comes to the earth to teach us a different way. A different way. You should ask this question. Pilate asked it of Jesus. We read about this Wednesday night at our last Lenten series session. Jesus looks at Jesus. He said, what is truth? What is truth? You may get your emotions all stirred up. You're upset about something. You're just sure that it's right, and you've got a reason to be upset. And somebody else surely had to be the reason for you being upset. And you react. And what do you get? You don't get what you really want. So the best thing to do is to ask what Pilate asked to Jesus. What is truth? Is this really true? Is this man Jesus really not on my side? Should we do something bad to him? He is the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings. He came and brought love and peace. No, Jesus calls us to a higher reality. My mother taught me that. You remember the woman with the 8 kids? My mother said these kids need love. And it wasn't unusual for my mother to, when she went to the store to buy clothes for me and my brother, to buy some clothes for these 8 kids. It wasn't unusual for her to make them some clothes. It wasn't unusual for us to have a casserole to deliver to them on Sunday. They're just thinking about you, she'd say. Now, this was a woman that would repel you. You wouldn't want to be with her because, frankly, she was crazy. But my mother said Jesus calls us to a higher reality. Jesus calls us to respond in love to whatever comes our way. And to remember, if we live into that peace that passes understanding, the peace that Jesus offers, eventually the one word that people will say about us is peace. Peace be with you. So no matter what they did to him, they hung him on a cross, he maintained a sense of peace and connectedness to God that didn't allow for any disconnect at all. And he taught us a way into the eternal kingdom of heaven. And we're all invited, and that's good news. Those with ears to hear, let them